I wanted to come on and just talk for a second, but before I do that, I am just going to post a link to this video on StockTwits here real quick. So just give me 2 seconds to do that. Let's see. I just have to check my links to make sure it's the right thing, so I don't post the wrong link here. So here we go. GME Live. All right, there we go. Anyway, welcome. Broadcasting live from Cape Cod, Massachusetts. I wanted to talk to you for a second, just while we get started here, about just this channel and me and whatnot. I think we got off on the wrong foot, some of us, with new viewers here. There's the whole thing with Wall Street bets and everything. There is this feeling of like everybody who is long is a team and we have to fight back against the shorts type thing. And I think I've inadvertently sort of labeled myself as a short. And I want to just be clear, and people who've watched this channel know this already, but I am not advocating one position or another. It's up to you how you want to trade. The point of this channel is really to show one trader's actions and execution, and hopefully people can benefit from that. I'm not trying to convince people one way or the other of which side of a trade they want to be on. And it's interesting because I get a lot of people who as soon as they kind of figure out that I have a short position currently in GME, then I'm labeled as, a boomer or a short or, the enemy. And that's not the case. And I want to just outline my philosophy on stocks in general. I've been a market participant for many, many years. And I'm of the firm belief that there is no way to know which way a stock is going to go in the next 24 hours. And that is an unknowable situation from my point of view. You can't know what is going to happen in the future. So as everybody has opinions of what's going to happen in a stock, I recognize these as just opinions, and no opinion being super superior to another. Now, there are many people who believe in technical analysis as a means of discerning what's going to happen in the future. I'm familiar with technical analysis. I was I received about a year of training in options strategy, and I was basically, my training was to be exposed to several different traders and how they did things. And I was supposed to, take what I could from each person and move on from there. But I know yesterday I made a video talking about kind of psychology of the market and market participants and whatnot. And I received, this harsh comment from somebody saying, basically I'm just part of all these shorts that are trying to manipulate the market and trying to convince the longs not to, and all this other stuff, which really is not true. I'm not trying to convince you to be short GME or long GME. The point of that last video was kind of justifying my thinking from my position. Feel free to disagree. I would not recommend that anybody trade based on what someone else thinks about things, right? I'm not trying to convince you to put a position on. I don't want you to follow my positions. I want you to learn to think for yourself and use all the resources at your command to come up with your own strategies and things. At the moment, I happen to be trading one stock, GME. That doesn't mean that you should be trading that stock. I generally cover VIX, VXX, UVXY, and whatnot. So I kind of just wanted to clear that up because there's this sort of narrative that's pushed by all these new people online that have arrived due to these meme stocks, GME, AMC, and whatnot. And that is the philosophy that Wall Street Bets has, which is like, we're all going to band together, we're all going to support each other, and we're all going to get long these stocks, and they're going to go up, and it's going to be great. That is one trading strategy. It's had varying levels of success for people. Some people certainly bought some of these stocks when they were low and sold them when they were high, but there's also a lot of people who bought them when they were high and are stuck long them, or had their your results may vary, but that is just one group of people with one trading philosophy. And to come in and think that you maybe you arrived here from that group, to come in and think that that because this worked with one stock over a couple months period, that this is the new trading philosophy that will take over the internet and is going to cause success moving forward, is to fundamentally misunderstand the markets. The markets are always changing. Any strategy that you come up with that is successful might last for a little while, but stuff never lasts for too long. And I just find it interesting how you have this one success. A stock goes from $2 to $500, and that's a great, awesome, amazing situation. Historic situation. The move in GameStop was historic, up to $500. But to extend that and think that, like, okay, well, this is only the beginning. That was just the first of many moves. Anything's possible in this world, of course, but at some point we need to take the odds into account. And the likelihood of, hey, what is up, Warren the Idiot Masses? The likelihood of this stock taking out the high that it already had is very small. I prefer to focus on things that have higher odds associated with them than that. I don't think it's really disputed that the fact that there was so much short interest piled up was what caused a huge squeeze in GameStop. Those conditions that caused the squeeze are gone now. So the odds of this thing going above 500 again are, greatly, greatly reduced. And, you can call me a naysayer or whatnot, but that's just basically the odds there. Now, I hope that people can benefit from my options ideas, whether you're on the long side or the short side. Speaking of Ponzi schemes, I guess everybody saw that the king of Ponzi schemes passed away in prison. Was it 3 days ago? Bernie Madoff. And that's been big news in the financial world. Anyway, so to move on, let's go back to strategy for a second. Some of the guys in my chat, let's see what they were talking about here. I had the stock at the tip of my fingers, but I think it's MSTR. Hold on, stay with me just 1 second here, folks. I'm going to pull up the stock. Yeah, here we go. MSTR, people are talking about that. When you get a stock that has a huge move, MSTR had a huge move yesterday. Let's pull it up for a second, or recently. When you get a stock that has a huge move, the option volatility kind of spikes, right? And so some way out of the money options trade for extreme prices. So for example, here is this MSTR stock. It moved from 740 to 900 yesterday. Let me get out of the way for a second. And volatility spiked, and as a result, some of the way like out of the money put options have high prices. Now the likelihood of this stock going from like 700 like back down below like 200 in the next day or two are extremely low. But if you look there, options that are way out of the money here. Sometimes there's like people need to buy back stuff or something, and there you'll see these put options that are bid up. There were some specific put options that were bid up. I'm not going to say the exact strike because I'll leave that to other people. So warn the Indian masses. I've seen your I saw a lot of your conspiracy theory stuff posted in the comment section. And about how it's all rigged. You know, I suppose, although I don't agree with you on the whole Ponzi scheme thing, I suppose if you do feel that way, you should develop some strategies to capitalize on these ideas, options-wise. Okay, so let's go. I want to go just quickly to my positions in GME for a second. We'll talk about that. Where can I short the next marriage where some idiot loses half his money? You're talking about selling the likelihood of people staying together. Yeah, so GME did break its 7-day losing streak yesterday. It was up big on this news that they had covered their debt. You can see the chart here, and also pretty high volume yesterday. If we back up the charts, I talk about this a lot, but changing the number of days you're looking at a chart can change your view. If you back up the chart a little bit, we're still kind of in a downtrend here. We'll see if this breaks this. It seems to be sort of fading at the moment, but we will see what happens. Now, what I ended up doing yesterday, volatility really kind of exploded. And so what I ended up doing is actually selling some puts against I sold some put spreads against the put spread that I'm long, just because the prices were really good. And so even though we were up like 20 points, I could lock in, basically avoid taking a loss on my short delta position by selling some put spread. So I did end up selling the 60-50 put spread here yesterday to just kind of protect my account from losses as we moved higher. You know, I kind of took advantage of the fact that option prices were really high to kind of hedge myself. And then in addition to that, I took the money that I had collected from selling those put spreads, and I did buy some kind of at the money put spreads out in July. So I bought the 70-60 put spread. I think I paid something like $670 for that. Let's see if it's listed here. I got to figure out where it's listed. I paid something like $670 for that. So currently my Greeks are very, very kind of tame, right? Short 11 deltas, paying $2 a day. So just slightly short here. I do plan on, if volatility does come in, covering some of the put spreads I sold yesterday, go back in and buy them again. I think the entire market is going to go the way of CBS Viacom. Buy UVXY and spread the word. Speaking of UVXY, still kind of waiting for the split here. You know, if you'd bought UVXY recently and held on to it, you wouldn't have done so well, right? But, you know, at some point, obviously, if you time it right, volatility is down, right? The VIX 1677, that's the lowest it's been in quite some time. UVXY also down due to the VIX coming in and contango, all these other reasons. This, you know, if you were gonna go to the long side, this would be a good time to buy, right? Because it's everything's cheap. Volatility is cheap and everything. Vaccine stocks. Hello, KSE. I have some friends that trade vaccine stocks. The hard thing with vaccine stocks is that, yes, obviously the companies are making money, but obviously they've had big run-ups. But is the pricing appropriate right now for these stocks? You know, a lot of them are trading at pretty high prices, I believe. You know, J&J had the bad news about clotting. They paused some stuff. if you got some negative news about one of these and maybe you could scoop a little bit, that might be a good time to do it. But just buying them just because they're in the news could be rough. Let's take a look at Moderna really quick. I got my first vaccination 2 weeks ago, and it was the Moderna vaccine. So let's take a look at Moderna here. mRNA. And let's back it up a little bit here. So 180 days. So you can kind of see where we are. I don't have any specific opinion on that. KC. Yeah, I have no opinion on the vaccine stocks. I don't know what to tell you on that one. I am still short GME, but like I said, I'm not trying to convince anybody of anything. So please don't label me as a FUD or against everybody and all this stuff like people have been doing. I do like pulling people's legs a little bit on StockTwits on this GME stuff because people are it's like they're a cult following. You can't say one bad word about GME or like 20 people jump on your back, and they love like supporting each other. It's like the tribe of people who are long GME, and it goes down 7 days, and it doesn't put people off at all. They continue to believe. It's like no matter what this does, some people will continue to believe. Epic squeeze, they say. Let's see what else we have today. And like I said, I haven't made many friends by having a position short this. Obviously, we're not in the market to make friends. When you have everybody just saying the same thing, like I could go on and make friends. I could go on the GME site or the GME thread and say bullish stuff and get a whole bunch of friends by saying, let's get long. This is going to 200,000. I saw one yesterday that says, when this passes 1,000, then we'll have our revenge. And I'm not listening to anybody after that because it's just going to keep going higher from there. I think people think that if they say this stuff, people will like them or something. But once again, it's an odds thing to me. Yes, it could, anything could happen. I don't know the future any more than you do. But the likelihood of GME taking out the $500 level anytime soon is very remote. I see personally, my opinion is it's going to grind lower from here slowly. Continue to grind lower, I should say, because, here's the trend, grinding lower. But what do I know? I'm just one person, and I don't have a very big position, and that's kind of where I am on that one. So there you have it. If you are mad at me for being short this, I'm sorry, but I don't expect you to follow me. Once again, do what you like. What's up, Christina? Nice to see you. Yeah, I have a friend who traded or who kind of just started in the market and bought mRNA and did well on it. I think it was like right around. It was like right around here, like it was trading like 130, and he bought it, and it went up, and he sold some, and he made some money, which is great. And if you look at many points in this, you could have made money whether you're long or short, just because it's moving all over the place. Right now, it's had a nice big up move with a little pullback, but I have no opinion. Let's take a look at RETL. I was looking at this other one. Sky U. It's an ETF that has to do with cloud computing, and obviously cloud computing stuff has skyrocketed lately. But definitely these this is a leveraged one. So leveraged ones you don't want to stay in for a long time, one way or another, just because they do decay a lot. Hedge funds are being funded by banks. Yeah, we don't really know what hedge funds are doing at any specific time. They're not required to file what's going on all that much. And when we do find out what they're doing, we find out, after the fact a lot of times. So, kind of the narrative with the meme stocks that the hedge funds are short and public is long and it's us against them is really, I tend to think of the market as like, I'm one participant. There's all these other participants doing all this other stuff that's kind of unknowable what other people are doing, but I'm just trying to make money myself as best I can. And I would encourage you to look at it that way as well. We don't know what a lot of these hedge funds are doing. They all have different positions, of course. So I'm sure some corporate business people that the Wall Street Bets people would hate have the same position as them, right? It's not really about what the other guy has. It's just about you trying to make money yourself, right? All of this, there's no reason for, there's another market participant. He might be on the other side of the trade for me this week, and next week we might be both on the same side. Why should I have any sort of emotion one way or another towards those people? I don't have any negative feelings towards people that have a different position from me. Why should I? It's very strange to me that dynamic of, well, let's all band together if we have the same position and those other guys. And I know where it comes from. It's that it's that tribal feeling. It's like you want to feel like you're part of something bigger than yourself. But the trading in the market really is an individualistic thing. If you make a lot of money on a trade one day, nobody really cares, right? You don't even really want to tell people if you make a lot of money one day. You kind of want to keep your mouth shut because all it does is get people either jealous or envious or make them feel bad. And why would you want to do that? Generally, it's best to just talk about your losses. At least that's what I was taught. But yeah, it feels better to be part of a group of people. But the whole let's support each other and the FUD thing and all these, these keywords that identify you as a Wall Street Bet person, I'm out on that. So-calls buy stock. I'm sure hedge funds are getting a lot of the QE dollars because, the connected people in the world are the ones who have access to the funds. It's just the way it works, right? When the government stimulus comes out, the companies that are connected end up getting a lot of it. Generally, the debate of buying versus selling options, generally in this world, option prices are just slightly overpriced. And the reason for that is not everybody can sell options. It's easier to buy options. And it's easier to get an account and be allowed to buy options than sell options. In general, it's hard to make money being long options as a retail person unless you are very strategic about it and are right. It's generally, in broad terms, easier to make money selling options than buying them. Now, if you're talking about markets being pretty efficient in something like the QQQ or the SPY, markets are generally pretty efficient. So the prices on options are going to be generally fair. So what that means is that in general, no matter which side you're on, you're going to have like an equal chance of things because stuff is accurately priced. But the more of a less liquid situation, like a small stock or something that isn't traded very much, the more likely that prices are going to be off, and the more chance you have of actually making money in an illiquid situation. However, illiquid situations have their own problems. That's kind of what I run into with some of this GME stuff. Now, GME is generally, there's certainly trade in the stock. However, like the stuff I'm trading 92 days out in July, if we look at the open interest here, is not very high, right? Here's open interest in July. Well, that's a decent amount of open interest, I got to say, on some of these strikes, 6,000 But day to day, a lot of this stuff, not much of this stuff trades. Look at the money in July here, right? 125 open interest, this sort of things. And you could see the prices on these are, obviously the market's closed right now, but even when the market's open, the bid ask is like $3 wide on some of these. And yeah, you can trade some stuff mid-market, but you can get stuck holding stuff, and you need to be careful. I experiment a lot with these spreads. When I put these spreads on, I'll dangle bids and offers. Generally, I try to trade stuff mid-market, but I will dangle bids and offers sometimes, and I will test it. For example, when I did sell these spreads yesterday, these put spreads, if you go in here, right, and you queue this up. So I'm going to queue up selling the 60 put and buying the 50 put. Market's closed right now, but this is just representational. So it says 172. Now, a lot of the stuff yesterday, you could not sell it mid-market, right? You put an offer in mid-market, nothing happens. You go ahead and you put a market that's lower than mid-market, like, for example, mid-market here is 172. You could put like a 150 offer in, still nothing happens. And what I'll do is I'll test it with one lots and see kind of how deep the market is. I was long this put spread, which basically is a bet the stock's going to go down, and the stock went up $20 and the put spread didn't move. So I thought, wow, stock's up $20, put spread hasn't moved. Maybe I'll try to sell my put spread up $20 and then buy another one closer to at the money to capitalize on that $20 move. Well, I tried to sell this yesterday, and it was showing the mid-market on the screen was like $4 and something, and nobody would buy it from me. I offered it through the screen like 50 cents lower than mid-market. Nobody still would buy it from me. So these prices can be deceptive, and it might say on the screen, oh, your position's worth X amount, but if you can't get out of it that amount, it's really not worth that, right? Or at least it might be worth that, but there's no way you could actually turn your position into cash right now. You'd have to wait a while. And in fact, a lot of these spreads I'm trading in here, this is not liquid stuff, so it might take days to be able to get out of it, and that's something you want to be aware of. If you're going to possibly need the money in your account like tomorrow to pay rent or something, don't trade illiquid things. Obviously, GameStop is probably the most in the news stock right now, and yet it's not very liquid. Black Swan countdown. So be aware of how liquid stuff is. And the other thing is that, okay, the market, maybe when I did buy this put spread, the 980 put spread, I paid $318 for it, right? There's no reason not to go in here and put an offer. Right now, the market on the screen, right, is 155 bid at 510, right? That's a very wide market. If you paid $318 for this thing, there's no reason why not to put an offer of like $350 in for one lot and just leave it there. Stranger things have happened than you get filled on this, And the one thing's for sure, you're not going to be able to sell it at good prices unless you have an offer in there. So I would mess around. I spent a lot of time just dangling stuff out there. For example, I'm long this put spread. I want to sell something against it. Well, I check out. Well, what's the 45-35 put spread trading for? And you look, 122. A couple days ago, this was up to like 160. But the mid-market doesn't necessarily mean where you could trade it. And ultimately, the reason I ended up trading this 60-50 put spread yesterday, I wanted to sell some sort of put spread, and I kept just trying stuff. And then I tried this, and it actually did trade mid-market, which was decent prices. I keep doubling down on GameStop shorts. Can we get some QE? You want some more QE? I think we've already gotten a lot of stimulus. The thing is that I lost money when this went up to the extent that even if those positions work out perfectly, it's just making back money I lost. But such is life sometimes in the market. Excuse me. The good news is that I have made back some money since then, and I hope to continue to do so. So let's take a look before I leave you once again and just check I keep checking ProShares reverse split, and nothing's up there. When I look through the different, when I Google this and I look through the different possibilities on Google, they try to trap me in this spam thing sometimes. Like I go to ProShares, and then I list it by, see what the most recent postings are. So last 24 hours for ProShares split. And if you go to some of these things, they try to, like if you go to this one, ProShares split, it's like some kind of like spam thing where like they're going to try to get you. It's like a Russian website where they're going to try to get you, put a bug on your computer or something. So be careful with that. So here we have, coming in today, GameStop, 91,000 shares have traded before the open. That is pretty low, but kind of in line with what we've seen recently. There are a lot of shares traded yesterday. I don't know exactly how many shares. I think something around 25 million shares traded yesterday, but pretty high volume compared with what we've seen lately. But we'll see if this kind of fades back and people sort of lose interest again and this continues lower, or if it moves higher today. I'll be interested to see what happens as we move forward. So all of you Wall Street bettors who are betting this goes higher, best of luck to you. The position I have right now is short, but I want to emphasize just one last time that I am not here to tell you which way to trade stocks. That's not my purpose here. My purpose here is just to illuminate you on thoughts and ideas about possible option strategies and thoughts on the market in general and trading in general. What you choose to do as your position is up to you. I have no animosity towards people that have different positions than mine, and I don't think you should either. So have a great rest of your day, folks, and I'll see you next time. Thank you for all participating in the chat. That's very cool. And I'm going to let you go as we see the market opening now. You're watching Famous Days. Bye-bye. See you next time.